Welcome back to the channel, Trophy Hunters. Hopefully everyone's having a fantastic Friday today. Today I thought I'd make a quick trophy roadmap guide for a game that I platinumed and played a couple of weeks ago that was a super easy platinum. It's a game called Task Force Campus. Now I was fortunate enough that the developers actually sent me a code for this game, so thank you very much for that, guys. It's a super easy platinum. You'll be able to do this one in under an hour. Let's take a look at it.
Could I taste them for real?
So, Task Force Campus is a space shooter, I guess you call it. It's like an old school arcade shooter, but for modern consoles. It's very similar to what you would see from publishers like Radalika with these small mini titles that have really easy trophies in them that don't take too long. But this one here was actually really fun. I had a great time with it. I did a first play of the game where I just played through the game and got the platinum all in one playthrough, and I really enjoyed it. It was a really solid time. That video should be up on the channel at the same time as this one if all goes according to plan. So let's have a look at the trophy roadmap for this game and let you guys know exactly what you need to do to platinum this title. First up, difficulty. This one is about a 2 out of 10. Now, I teetered between a 1 out of 10 and a 2 out of 10 for this one, but because the nature of the game being this space shooter, they can be complicated for some people. I didn't personally find the game very hard. For me, it's probably a 1 out of 10, and I'm not particularly good at these kind of games, but if you've not played any of these kind of games before, then I could understand why it could be difficult and frustrating. So I've been conservative and I've said 2 out of 10. It's going to take you an hour. I think it took me under an hour to platinum, but I'm saying an hour just to be safe. Anywhere from 30 minutes to, say, an hour is probably a safe space in terms of how long this will take you. There's no online trophies, there's no missable trophies, there's no difficulty trophies, so that's a good thing. You do have to play through the game multiple times. Not the entire game, but the beginning, first sections of the game. You're going to have to play through that a couple of times in order to do everything. Generally speaking, you only really need to play up to the second boss. That should have, at that point, you should have enough points to get the trophy that requires 250,000 points, which is the furthest point of progression that you'll need to make in the game. So you only need to really play the first sort of like 5 to 7 minutes of the game. And you'll have to play that probably half a dozen times is what I would say. There is no chapter select, but it's not really required. And I've also added stacks on here. So there are 3 PS4 stacks for this game for different regions. So you can potentially get 3 different platinums for the same game by purchasing it in multiple regions. It's pretty straightforward. Like I said, there's not too much to worry about in this one in terms of difficulty or challenge. What are the steps to platinum? That's the next question. So there's 3 steps that I've outlined so far. So the first step is play the game and just try and accumulate 250,000 points in a single run. This will take some time, and it's probably going to take you the majority of your time with the game. Everything else that you need to do will unlock as you're progressing towards this one trophy. So there are trophies for collectibles, there are trophies for killing a particular number of enemies, for getting a lower number of points, for defeating 3 bosses, things like that. But they'll all lead into this single trophy for 250,000 points. Oh, there's also one there's 3 trophies for surviving certain amount of time in the game. But again, to get 250,000 points, you have to finish the whole first level and the first boss. Then you have to finish probably part of the second level to get to that point. And maybe the second boss, I don't think I had to. I did defeat the second boss on one of my playthroughs, but I don't think you have to. What I found was to get the 250,000 points, you really have to destroy everything. Collecting the little Agumon Chocomo kind of guys gives you a ton of points as well, so make sure you collect them. Make sure you're shooting all the asteroids, make sure you're shooting all the different types of enemies. Don't just try and dodge them and avoid them, just attack them. I found that was the easiest strategy. So that's the only suggestion I really have to get to that point. Once you defeat the first boss, your points will take a big jump as well. It shouldn't be too challenging for most people, and then everything else will come with that. Step 2, I mean, if it's even required, is that you might need to replay the game to get 3 boss kills. So there's a trophy for killing 3 bosses, but you can kill the same first boss 3 times on 3 separate playthroughs, and you'll unlock the trophy that way as well. So that's the easiest way of doing it. You can just play through the game. Maybe you're good enough to just keep playing through the game and defeating the bosses. That's an option as well. If you're not and you need to keep replaying it, then you might need to replay the first area a couple of times to get those boss kills. Likely though is that you'll get that trophy before you get the 250,000 point trophy. Everything kind of leads into that one trophy when you're doing things. The final step, if you even need it again, is your cleanup, and that's just your collectibles. It's for collecting 60 Cocos, which are the dinosaur just above me here, the yellow dinosaur who looks like a Digimon. You have to collect 60 of those. When you start the game and you start shooting the asteroids at the very beginning of the game, you can normally unlock like 3 or 4 of them just straight off the bat from that. So likelihood is that you'll unlock these as you play through the game anyway, because you'll probably need to play through, like I said, between half a dozen to a dozen times in order to get everything else in the game. So because of that, I would assume you've probably collected enough of these Agumon. But if not, you can just play through the beginning of the game again, play through a couple of times till you die, and you'll have enough. It really doesn't take a huge amount of time. As always, I like to call out some specific trophies that may give you some trouble. In this instance, there's really only 2, and I've kind of already talked about them a little bit. So that's the kill 3 bosses. And I've kind of given a good tip on that. Just replay the first boss 3 times. Kill him. Tips for the first boss. I guess, like, I had a lot of trouble with him because I just kept running straight into his fire. What I found is that you have to stay back. So stay close to the bottom of the screen and try and dodge between his bullets that are coming down. If you do get hit, you flash for about 5 seconds so you can kind of get out of the way of the bullets. And it gives you enough time to kind of avoid that. The other thing that I should point out as well is that you regenerate health when you stop shooting. So I found that when I was trying to avoid him and he shot at me and I lost some health, I would just stop shooting completely, wait for that 5-second cooldown to stop, and then I would just regenerate my health back up and then start firing again. And I found that that worked quite well. You can experiment with the other pilots in the game as well. Some of them have different abilities. Some have more health, some have a higher range of fire. I've had a look online and a lot of people are suggesting using the one with more health, but I actually didn't find that was easier. I found the one with stronger firing power was the one that helped me through the game a little bit more. But it's going to be different for everybody. Maybe more health is important, maybe it's not. And then the last one is the 250,000 points, probably the hardest trophy in the game. Hard being really relative. The points accumulate basically by shooting asteroids, collecting collectibles, killing bosses, and killing enemies. And that's really all there is to it. I found that my points accumulated faster if I didn't get hit as well, so there's obviously a combo that kind of goes on there. So if you try and avoid getting hit in the first whole part of the game, then you can kind of accumulate a decent score probably with that multiplier quite fast before the boss comes in. That's probably all there is to it. There are power-ups in the game. You can get health or stronger weapons and things like that, but I don't know, you choose what's useful to you depending on what the circumstances are is kind of what I found, rather than saying one size fits all. Depending on what you're trying to do and where you are in the game, if you're going up against a boss, maybe you need more health urgently, or maybe you need stronger firepower. I generally went for stronger firepower in almost all instances, but it's really circumstantial. But that's all there is to it. That's Task Force Campus. I actually enjoyed this one. It was really fun platinum. You know, some of the times when you go for these platinum games or platinumable games that are supposed to be easy, they're really a chore and they're not that much fun. But this one was good. I had a really nice time with it. It didn't outstay its welcome. By the time I'd finished with it after an hour, I was happy. I wasn't frustrated with it because it wasn't too difficult like some of these games can be. And yeah, it was a decent experience. So I highly recommend going and getting this one. It's an easy plat. There's no reason that you shouldn't be able to get it yourself. I'm not an expert at these kind of games, and I was able to do it. Yeah, easy 2 out of 10 platinum. Hopefully this guide is helpful for some of you guys. If it is, then don't forget to give me a thumbs up. And if you're not already subscribed to the channel, don't forget to hit the subscribe button down below. If you did find this guide helpful, let me know down in the comment section below. Or if you've played this game, let me know. Maybe you've got some tips that I didn't include in this video that would be useful for the community. Then don't forget to add that in as well. It's always really appreciated and really helpful. So yeah, thank you guys so much for watching. I will see you all in tomorrow's video, I suppose. Yeah, have a great day. Bye.